It's the Underpowered Hour. On this week's show, we're joined by the gang from the Center Steer podcast to talk with Bob Steele and Bruce Fowler about the ANARC Diamond Jubilee Event coming up this June. And now, without further delay, here's the show. Welcome to the Underpowered Hour. I'm Steve Barris, mild-mannered television executive by day and Land Rover collector by night. You can find out more about our cars and what we're working on at thebarriscollection.com or follow us on Instagram at thebarriscollection. I'm joined, as always, by my good friend, Ike Goss.
Thank you to everyone joining us today. I'm the green coolant to Steven's orange coolant. I'm the brass and copper core of podcasting, Ike Goss. I own and operate Pangolin 4x4 in Springfield, Oregon, where we live and breathe Land Rovers. Check us out online on Facebook, Instagram at Pangolin 4x4. Let's get started.
All right, Ike, you are back from the Outback.
Ooh, made it.
What a trip.
It was touch and go. There was an incident with a kangaroo, but it was...
Yeah, well, you haven't probably listened to the shows that you missed while you were away, but Chris, who doesn't listen to the show, came on and guest hosted for one, and we had quite a rousing conversation about who would win in a fight against a kangaroo, you or Linus. Ooh. So you'll have to go and see who voted on, and then Liza threw in her opinion last week. So
there was definitely some feats of strength, some competitive sort of, that sort of thing that happened, and you'll hear all about it on future podcast.
Yeah, that's right. We're going to do the road to Kuma, probably with Linus, and then I think we're going to do at Kuma with you and Jenna. So let's.
We have a whole host of characters and guests lined up for future Kuma-related episodes. Everyone from former Land Rover engineers to, speaking of Bob Steele.
Speaking of Bob Steele, this is an event that that has been talked about, that people thought could never happen. It is the first ever crossover episode between the Underpowered Hour and our good friends at the Center Steer podcast. Yeah. It's really incredible. This
is Game of Thrones meets Lord of the Rings. This is the big deal. It's
everything you could ever imagine. Yeah. This is the Avengers Endgame of Land Rover podcasting. It's all been building to this.
Yeah. It's all the crossover.
So here it is. We're joined by Bob and Bruce for hopefully for a rundown of everything that will happen.
A teaser, and it's extensive.
It is extensive at the Big ANARC show, the 75th anniversary Diamond Jubilee birthday. Not to be missed by anyone.
Never to be repeated.
No, certainly not in our lifetime. I'm not going to make it another 25 years. I mean, let's be honest. I drive a Freelander sometimes.
The way you live,
smoke inhalation alone will get me. But we're super excited to invite John and his crew onto the show. We're going by Dixon. We've got everybody's there. Everybody's there. Morgan's there. Everybody's there. Harold's there. Everybody's there. Yeah. Everybody's there. And then of course Bruce and Bob from ANARC to talk all about it. So because of the pure concentration of information that is happening in that interview, we're going to go ahead. We're going to throw to the tape, and then we'll be back right after that. But let's rev it up and hear what was said.
It's going to be good.
All right. Well, we are joined by the largest group of Land Rover podcasters ever assembled in one place.
True.
Which I think anytime it's more than like 5 people, that's sort of a record.
It's a world record.
We have nearly a Brady Bunch amount of individuals today on the show with us. So instead of me individually going around and introducing everybody, why don't John? I'll throw it to you to introduce yourself and the rest of your team, and then we can welcome our guests for this Land Rover podcasting universe mashup.
It is a mashup. Yes, this is a mashup. I'm John Kostic, host of the Center Steer podcast. And over to Harold.
Hey, I'll take Paul Lind in the center square to block. Hey, Morgan's here.
Yeah, good to be here. Thanks for having me.
Hi, Morgan.
And of course, it wouldn't be complete without the man, the legend, Dixon himself joining us.
Token Canadian.
Well, and we're joined by none other than the incredible Bruce Fowler and Bob Steele.
Legends.
From today, from ANARC, from any other day, just legendary Land Rover owners and incredible collectors and community contributors. But today representing the ANARC 75th Anniversary Jubilee Event.
Diamond Jubilee, to correct you, Steve.
Diamond Jubilee. Not just a regular Jubilee, but a Diamond
Jubilee.
That's where we're at.
For those who don't know, Land Rover is celebrating its 75th on April 30th of all.
Is that what it is? Wow.
World Land Rover Day.
Well, it is World Land Rover Day. Jaguar Land Rover will be celebrating it the same way they do every day. So that's going to be fantastic.
Denying warranty claims.
Way to drop that. They're going to celebrate like they do every other day.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
By doing nothing.
That's exactly right. Yeah, they're taking a Zoomer approach to birthdays. They're just not doing them. So, Bob and Bruce, welcome. Thank you for joining us. We are thrilled to be getting ready for this event, and we thought, what better way to celebrate such a momentous occasion than to have you both on the show and to slam both shows together in a Brady Bunch meets the
Globetrotters.
Who did they? The Globetrotters. The Harlem Globetrotters beat Dracula sort of mashup here. So both of our shows together. So guys, welcome. Thank you for joining us, and let's talk a little bit about the ANARC Diamond Jubilee 75th event that's coming up here in June.
Certainly. Well, thank you for having us. Bruce and I are co-chairing this event, the 75th Diamond Jubilee. We're doing our best to get word out there. We're fortunate while Bruce and I are, say, at the top of the pyramid, standing on that tip together.
Tip of the spear, Bob.
We're very fortunate to have dozens and dozens of skilled, knowledgeable volunteers helping us. This is an incredible endeavor. We have probably over 50 people on board helping us. And all this started actually back in 1997. Dixon was actually a part of the 50th celebration back in 1998. ANARC was alive and well then. Dixon was one of the leaders of that organization. Bruce and I attended it in 1998 and had a great time. And a couple of years ago, Dixon, Bruce, myself, and a few others got together and said, hey, let's get the band back together and have a 75th. So that's how this all came to be. People like Dixon and Bruce and I, we kind of know what happened back at the 50th. And so not that that's the model, but
a lot of that has had to be kept from the authorities there in Greek Peak, I believe. They're still looking for some evidence was destroyed. I think it's fine now.
After 25
statute
years,
of limitations and all has run out. So we're okay to do another one.
Right. So back in 98, it was a great time. So that's what we're trying to pull off. And Bruce has hosted so many events. Many of you know Bruce through Winter Romp. Bruce, you've probably done more rallies than me.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I haven't kept track of how many rallies I've done, but thanks for the pat on the head. Let's see. We've got a vehicle display and show where special vehicles will be coming in. And actually, they're going to be running an inquiry competition for people to submit their vehicle information and why they would like to show that. And the top vehicles are going to be chosen from there and will also be on display. Let's see, we have competitions, and we'll be breaking out for the first time the ANARC Cup, which is under construction now, which is going to be a permanent ANARC feature, and will go from event to event to event year after year. So we're getting RTVs coming up. We're going to have expo sessions. We're going to have off-road recovery sessions and a whole bunch of other things that I can't think of right now. Isn't that wonderful?
Oh, that's fantastic. That's fantastic. And there's, from what I understand, there's also going to be a series of luminaries, as I understand. Jeff Aronson, much like Charlie, has assembled a series of Land Rover Angels that will be there to chat about their experience. And so let's talk a little bit more about that.
I'm enjoying all the 70s and 80s references. By the way,
that's
Charlie's
where I
Angels,
live.
the Brady's Bunch mashup. The mashup that I had in my head, I'd like to interject, was this felt more to me like when Mork and Mindy started out of Happy Days.
Yes, of Happy Days. Right, exactly. This will birth a whole third podcast.
Yes, it will.
Yes, it's going to be fantastic.
And it'll be run by an AI called the Shazbot.
Nanu.
It's going to be great. It's going to be great.
Well, so Steve, to throw out there, and this is the first time we're unveiling them. The public has not heard who the 5 luminaries are.
My
ANARC
goodness.
is buying a lot of plane tickets and putting them all up at the Hope Lake Lodge at Greek Peak Resort. But we're very fortunate to have Nick Dimbleby coming. So
Our good friend Nick Dimbleby. It's not a party until Nick Dimbleby's there.
Just saw that guy about 48 hours ago, and there's nowhere he won't go for a free plane ticket. So just
true.
keep that in mind.
That's true.
Yeah. So I talked to Nick while he was over there. Sounds like that was a
Excellent.
great party, Ike. So that's part of the flavor that we're trying to bring to Greek Peak.
We took
it's all
we took some
celebration.
compromising photos of Nick during the event. So if you need any for any reason, just let us know.
Nick's juiced up to come. If you have any of his books or his photography, bring it along. He said he'd be glad to meet all the enthusiasts who are there, autograph, signed books. I'm bringing my Camel Trophy book along to have Nick sign it.
That's
Maybe we
awesome.
could explain who Nick Dimbleby is for those who don't know.
Yeah, Nick Dimbleby is the premier, not only automotive photographer, but Land Rover specific photographer. And he started at a very young age. And this is probably one thing he might talk about during his speech or event at the event. So I don't want to ruin too much, but he started at a very young age, and he did several Camel Trophies, took a lot of really iconic photographs of Land Rover vehicles through the years.
The G4
and is a super well-traveled, super nice guy, great to talk to, and very knowledgeable about, the vehicle events and, world travel. He's super, super good guy.
A good-looking guy as well. He cleans up nicely.
If you say so.
So Nick will be there. And of course, we're delighted to have Nick Rogers.
Yes, the other Nick.
Yeah,
You've got
we
both
got
Land Rover
both
Nicks.
Nick.
Wow, that's huge. Yeah.
Both Nicks. Now, Nick is an engineer, former head engineer at Land Rover, and so he's probably going to have some in-depth, information into Land Rover products. And I don't know whether he signed a non-disclosure agreement. He'll probably get there and be like, well, I can't really talk about that.
Can't really talk about that. I need him to secretly tell me how to get my new Defender's roof to stop leaking. So
I think that's a feature, not a flaw.
that's right. Yeah.
And again, the diversity or the range of these 5 luminaries, that's what we're seeking, right? So there's something for everybody. If you and your kids, your friends, your spouse, your concubine, whoever's coming along with you, there's going to be something for everyone. Next up is Bob Burns.
Bob Burns, fantastic.
He is involved with all things out in the wilderness, right? I mean, he came in, I'm trying to remember exactly when Bob took over some of, like, right at the end of Camel Trophy and stuff. So Bob does a lot of the off-road or the adventure side of Land Rover.
Yeah, he's lived in the woods, to my knowledge, for the last 10 years, I believe. I don't. He just lives in the back of a Discovery Sport.
Right. So Bob's kind enough to come and join us. And I'll once we get past the luminaries, I'll let you know who some of the important off-road celebrities are we have. But maybe next up to mention is Daphne Green.
Oh, nice.
Right. So Daphne is the only female who ever competed for the United States in the Camel Trophy. She is still doing her, working her magic out there. Ike, do you ever see Daphne out and about? It sounds like you're getting out there. Or
I have. Yeah, I've met her. Yeah. She seems like a super nice lady, super knowledgeable, and a real dynamic presence. Speaks, super competent person.
Oh, she's great. And, especially having Jenna and Liza so active in the Rebel, our Rebel team. Daphne's a super, inspiration to, I think, that entire generation of, off-road race competitors that are doing it now. She was doing it 25 years before there was anything like a Rebel rally. And she's a pretty incredible individual, to say the least. So that's a huge get. Yeah. That's fantastic.
And since you've mentioned the Rebel, the rally, the Barber Toy ride, right? We're going to be doing a lot of specialty runs. So whatever your flavor is, you're going to be able to get out on the trails with a lot of, I think, really interesting people, right? So, part of this is you're coming to hear them perhaps talk, but these are all such engaging people. You're going to be able to have time just walking around, talking with them, being out on the trail. And they're all such nice people. And of course, the last one is Kim McCullough, who prior to her retirement, I believe she achieved the highest rank of any woman within JLR North America corporate,
Mhm.
right? I mean, Kim
Yep.
was there for years. She's a
Yep.
marketing and PR guru, buzzsaw. We're delighted to have Kim come in. So you
Yep.
can see those five, there's a mix of talents,
Fantastic.
knowledge, and
Kim's a
skill.
super nice lady and also
Yep.
very knowledgeable about the brand. She's an enthusiast outside of her
Mhm.
Yep.
professional capacity. She has a Series 1 and she
And she's
does
bringing it,
like
she's bringing
Oh,
her
fantastic.
series.
oh, nice.
Fantastic.
She also has a
Awesome.
lot of rally experience. Like she does like
Yeah.
Peking to Paris type stuff and like vintage car rallies. She's a cool lady.
Big driving force behind the Palm Springs event that they launched the new Defender at in 2019, 2018, 2019.
Yeah.
Whatever that was. Yeah.
Four
whatever
by
that
far.
was. Four by far. By far.
She's
by
a big
four.
part of that Kentucky 3-day event, getting it all set up back in the day before, she departed. Again, her knowledge and breadth of Land Rover brand, if that's the right word to use.
Yeah.
Sure.
We're hopeful she'll be comfortable sharing with us those stories. So again, those are our 5 luminaries, right? Those are
Fantastic.
hopefully all the listeners and all our enthusiasts who will be attending Greek Peak will enjoy getting to know them. They're such nice people.
Yeah.
I know sometimes we're intimidated by these Land Rover luminaries or legends, right? We think, well, they wouldn't possibly want to talk with me or share with me some of their thoughts, but those of us who have met these 5 know they're really special people. And I encourage everybody who comes to Greek Peak to take a moment to say hello and introduce yourselves. They're wonderful.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I completely agree. I know all of them, if not well or very well, a little bit, and they are all wonderful. But that's not the only list of people that'll be there. Am I correct, Bob?
Oh, wait, there's more.
actually a whole. But wait,
Before-
there's even more.
So we have a couple interesting characters who will be leading our off-road and recovery schools. One of my dearest friends who I love is Bill Burr. Bill's
Yes.
going to be there. And Bill is
Excellent.
going to be heading up a lot of the educational opportunities, trail rides, where whether you're a beginner rider or seasoned professional on the trails, Bill, you can always learn something from Bill Burr.
Can't wait to ask him
Absolutely.
about capstan recovery.
There you go. Well, and so to go along with that, you have Chris Cole with Safe Extract. Chris
Yes.
and Bill
Yeah.
are scheming something big. I was just on the phone with Bill a couple days ago, and I told him I don't want to know because I want it to be a surprise. But Bill and Chris are kind of tag teaming some of these sessions, how to use
Excellent.
recovery gear. For all of you who think you know how to get through an obstacle or how to recover yourself once you don't get through that obstacle you thought you were going to get through, those two, you can learn a lot from them. So those of you who really enjoy upping your game, Bill and Chris are going to be there to help. And I can't thank Bill
Fantastic.
Burke enough because he's going to be there well ahead of the event and helping us set up a lot of the terrain and a lot of those experiential opportunities where we can get vehicles mired and learn how to properly recover. So Bill and the people at Safe Extract, thank you to them. They're wonderful friends of the rally.
That's cool.
That is awesome. Yeah, that's super cool. And what about the venue itself? What about the Greek Peak? We talked a little bit in previous shows about some of the things that are going on there, but straight from the source, if you will, what do we got in store so far as the event itself is concerned?
Well, this ski mountain, Greek Peak, when we were there 25 years ago, was a rather bohemian, laid-back experience, right? We all camped. They didn't really have anything posh there.
Yeah.
So when Mike McKeag, who is the president of the ANARC Board of Directors, and Bruce and I visited, we actually visited 4 resorts well over a year ago, right, to try and figure out where we're going to host this. We were all in shock when we went to Greek Peak. It is nothing like we remembered from 1990. So for those of you who are listening who were there in 1998, yeah, the mountain's still there. All that stuff is there. But the facilities, they have this posh lodge. They have a water park for the kids. They have an adventure center where you can go and, the zip lines and all these crazy things that maybe teenage kids want to do or some of our younger enthusiasts.
Or Ike and Dixon, whatever.
Yeah,
I'll
challenge Dixon to a zip line off right now.
Dixon actually zip-lined into this conversation. A lot of people didn't see that probably, but he arrived by zip line. So
It's not a
there's
recliner;
lot of
it's a
things.
cushion bag to catch him.
So here's the big change, right? I mean, obviously we have this incredible lodge, which unfortunately all the rooms are sold out. So if you haven't already gotten a room, we encourage you to stay in our camp, which is free. It's included in the registration. That's where I stayed with my 9-year-old son when I went in 1998. I camped just a few spots away from Bruce. There's a beautiful camp area that's free and it's included with your registration. So the fact that all the lodge rooms are sold out, don't despair. You can just camp right there and you can walk to everything from the camp. You don't even need to get in your, Land Rover vehicle, right? You can just walk everywhere.
Space is still available in Nick Dimblesy's room.
There you go.
yeah, oh yeah,
true.
Nick is able to accommodate 7, maybe 8 people.
Does Nick know
that's a good
this?
point, Ike. They have each of our luminaries has their own suite. So maybe we can get more than you think in Nick's room.
I'll be staying in Nick's bathtub. So yeah. Ike and I are just going to burrito up in a tarp and roll underneath Bob's camper. So
there you go.
And if you need us,
I
that's
love
where
it.
we'll be. So
And some of the other luminaries that'll be there, Bob, are around the exhibition in the exhibition area in the car show. I was wondering if you could give us some more detail on that.
So those of you who attended Destination Defender last fall, we met Jim Macri. Jim is bringing some of his collection. And
great.
Most notable is the center steer. There will be a center steer Land Rover on display so everybody can see it and take a look at what that contraption really was.
It's a replica, to be clear.
He's been kind enough to work with us to get it there.
Nice.
And John, will you be doing a Center Steer podcast from the Center Steer? I think that
I don't think I'll be allowed.
meta.
I don't think you're allowed to get near it. So
I keep trying to convince one of the gyms, because they're all named Jim, right? There's 9 generations of gyms. 3 gyms, the 3 gyms, and all lovely people.
Yes.
And I've been trying to convince one of the gyms to let me try to take the Center Steer just off a small jump. And I've yet to succeed. But I feel like I've got Little Jim the closest.
I've seen it in person. And I was able to get close enough to breathe on it, and that was it.
So maybe Steve and I could run interference while we do the recording.
Yeah, well, you quickly jump in there. Yeah, we'll distract the gyms.
No one will know.
Yeah, absolutely. No one will know.
Well, so
Jim Senior definitely doesn't listen to either of our shows, but I would say middle and junior probably, or junior and junior probably might.
And Jim Senior
we'll have to do the planning offline.
We actually interviewed Jim Senior for the podcast, so yeah.
I'm sure he didn't listen to it though.
Yeah.
I'm sure he didn't.
It's okay.
Well,
it's okay.
So Jim, in the world of automobile collections, in particular Land Rover, Jim has a notable collection. We're going to have probably a half dozen of his vehicles there, right? So most important is the center steer. Now, another individual, I don't know how many know Bill Cooper.
Yeah.
But Bill down in New Jersey, he's going to bring up probably another half dozen, everything from his Pink Panther to his 101. He has the Barber toy truck.
That's right, he does.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
and I believe at least one of his 101s has an engine in it currently. So at least one.
Hopefully that's the one he's bringing.
Hopefully it's the one he's bringing. Yes.
So, but those two are probably at the top. So, John, thank you for teeing it up and reminded me. Mark Latourneau with Rovers North, who is also quite a legend, right? I think at some point we've all met Mark and are grateful for all he's done for us in our vehicles.
Owner of Rovers North.
Right. Right. With Rovers North.
Without him, there would be no Jeff Aronson, magazine.
That's correct.
That alone. Forget about everything else, just that alone.
Yeah, I confess I've known Mark for over 30 years because I've rebuilt a lot of Land Rover vehicles that I could never have gotten done if it weren't for Mark or for Larry. That's
why there's the Bob Steele wing of the Rovers North warehouse. If you've been there, there's quite a significant amount of square footage. Yeah, that's right.
Free bourbon, by the way.
Right, free brown water. So, Mark's a part of it. Now, one of the wonderful things that Rovers North is doing is they are actually hosting an invitation. If you believe your Land Rover is unique and worthy of being in the vehicle display, go to the Rovers North website. There are instructions there on how to enter your vehicle. Send it on. If you have a wonderful old vehicle that you would love to have in the display, let Mark Latourne know, or the Rovers North people on their website. We're opening it up for probably 15 to 20 trucks. So we're hoping to get some surprises, right? Because, when you know people like Jim Macri and Bill Cooper and others, right? You think you know how to get one of everything there. I bet Mark Latourne has some surprises for us that comes out.
You should have called me. I know where all the good ones are.
Certainly between Ike and I, we have some of the shittiest Land Rovers the country has to offer.
How many of yours have engines, like?
Last I checked, but I'm not there now. But maybe they've gone.
Yeah. Well, and so what's happened is now Jaguar Land Rover North America is piggybacking that. They thought Mark's idea and the Rovers North idea to find these heritage vehicles was so intriguing. They are actually reaching out to their customers, right? And I mean, I guess we're all Land Rovers, right? But there are groups, that we know of. Sure. It's nice that corporate understands the value of having vehicles and notable builds at this 75th Diamond Jubilee. After all, that's what we're celebrating. We're celebrating Land Rover.
Exactly. Well, and we're willing to take up a pool amongst listeners of both shows. And if we get to the right number, we won't bring the Freelander to the show. We'll leave it here in California. But I know there's been a petition circulated to please don't bring it to the East Coast, as it surely will wreak havoc there as well.
Is it functional?
God, no. Okay. But kind of. So kind of. It will run, but it overheats almost immediately, which is a new problem. It was a problem introduced in fixing other problems, which is sort of inexplicable, but whatever.
It's alternative propulsion. It's the steam-powered Freelander.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. Yeah. No, after we figured out how there was coolant in the transmission and oil in the transmission cooler, we've now kind of got that sorted, but now we've got overheating in a different place.
Popped cooler, it sounds like.
We'll get there eventually. Eventually, every part will be replaced, and then it will be like building a kit Freelander. So just in time to drop that 2-liter diesel in it. So let's talk a little bit then, Bob. We have a few more minutes here about the sort of activities that one can partake in during the event. Obviously, there is some off-road trails, I've heard, and you'll be able to take your vehicle on there, and maybe, like I convince someone to take us in their vehicle on there. Although when we tried to do that at Destination Defender, they shut the trails down entirely. So
it's true. I think there was a strong correlation between those two.
Yeah, there was. We finally got in with the Brooklyn Coachworks boys, and they said, no more. No, you guys can't go out there. No. Liza and Jenna got out there and promptly got stuck, but their Land Rover instructor got stuck, but they wouldn't let us out there at all. So, you win some, you lose some, but that won't be the case here, Bob. There's nothing but
weather.
trails to get
It
stuck
never
on.
rains at a Land Rover event.
Never.
That's exactly right.
We're going to have perfect weather in June in New York State. So here is a big difference between 1998 and 2023. At the 50th, we weren't allowed to use the ski mount. So there really weren't trails. We had some state roads and private lands in 1998, but off-roading really wasn't a part of the event. Greek Peak is under different ownership than 1998. They have actually welcomed us. In fact, we'll be there in May, the weekend of May 11th to 14th. We have over 50 volunteers coming, chainsaws, skid steers. We're actually going to be opening and creating a lot of the trail network.
That's cool.
So there will be, we believe it's well over 30 miles of trails. From my standpoint, most are scenic, beginner, and intermediate. Those people who are used to crawling rocks in Moab or going out through Uray and the Rockies, it's going to be hard to bring those rocks to New York State, right, in that terrain. But there will be some good stuff there. That's part of what Bill's going to help us create in the few days leading up to it. So we encourage everybody to bring a truck, even if you have your, stock tires and what have you. We will have terrain for you so you can drive up onto the mountain. The views from the precipice are wonderful. We're going to have special photographs up there. Our luminaries will be up there to greet you so you can get your photograph.
Great.
If you summit, if you make it to the precipice with your Freelander or whatever your choice of vehicle, you can have those wonderful photographs taken. So we have a lot of trail rides, and there are trail rides for those who would like to have someone on the terrain team give them a guided ride so they don't get lost, or they know that they're staying in the terrain that's good for them. So we have that opportunity.
Cool.
But for those who like using their maps, because we have all of this map, they can just go out on their own. And enjoy the mountain. And we'll have recovery crews out there to help. We have emergency services for anybody concerned about, if somebody gets nicked up or perhaps gets hurt. So certainly if your children are out running around and somebody gets a skinned knee and needs a Band-Aid, we know where you can go to get that Band-Aid.
Or my Freelander off-road driving style, up on the wheels, back down on the roof.
There you go.
So that's great.
It's important to note that this is not an amusement park. You are taking a vehicle off-road. You're responsible, and it's good to understand the capabilities. It's good to understand your driving abilities and skills. So you also got to take it seriously. It's not, as I said, it's not an amusement park ride where everything will be fine.
Well, hopefully not. It's way more fun when it goes a little sideways.
That's true.
There'll be a waiver. There'll be a waiver.
There's always a waiver.
Significant waiver. Yeah,
and
waiver.
I'd like to add that on the website, we have a website for the Jubilee event, and it is landrover75.com, and that's the number 75. And the website, if you go to the activities page, you can download the trail map and get an advanced view of all the trails. And that is updated as of the last time they were out on the trails. There are trails that are marked blue, red, yellow, green, and I think there's a black too, isn't there, Bob? I think the red is the most challenging.
And thank you, John, for mentioning that. We're obviously going to tighten up that map when we're there in May, right? There will be a lot more terrain on it, obviously, because we're opening up a lot more trails that we flagged when we were there last fall. But the goal is to have something for everyone. Right? If people have never driven trails or, been able to understand that joy of driving in the wilderness, their Land Rover, we're there to help you, right? I mean, there are professionals, there are volunteers who will help you learn how to use your vehicle properly, whether it's the electronic features of the newer ones or the older ones, just getting those series trucks through some of the terrain, right? So, but then of course, even the advanced people, I would dare to say there is nobody who will be coming to this event who will have more skill than some of our luminaries, whether it's Daphne, Bill, Chris. There are some people who are going to be there who we can all learn from. So take advantage of the opportunity and learn.
Well, that's a perfect segue, Bob, into let's talk very briefly about because at this point, anyone who isn't going, I don't understand why you wouldn't. So what do people need to know about getting there? What are the prices? When how do we sign up? How do we get everybody there?
Well, thank you. You can visit the website. John just gave the address. You can register. We already have hundreds of people have already registered since we opened it up last November. We can still accommodate hundreds more. That's the beauty of this resort. So don't feel like you're too late. All are invited. This is an inclusive event. This isn't exclusive like you have to own a Series 1 or a Freelander to get in the door.
Right.
This is for all of us. We're all enthusiasts.
You do have to have a Land Rover. That is that requirement. Yes. I mean,
one guy with a Jimny.
Yeah. I mean, we're all cousins under the skin, but
we're all related.
This one, this one specifically, though. Yeah, fair enough.
You can go to the website. The registration fee is $250. That includes your, the free Thursday night party, the free Saturday night party. It includes the 20X
trail access,
right? It includes the vehicle show. We have bonfires, drive-in movies. We have ice cream socials for children, right? There's a lot of different things going on. In fact, from 8 a.m. until, we know this will go on after midnight, right? Certain of us will be up after midnight, but there is something scheduled every day. Now it opens up on Wednesday at 2:00. If you want to get there when the door opens, come at Wednesday at 2:00. The registration desk will be in the Hope Lake Lodge, which is the main building at the resort. There's a nice porte cochere there for you to make your announced visit that you're now on the grounds. You can go inside, get your registration goodies. If you're staying at the Hope Lake Lodge, you can check in at the front desk. If you're in the campground, we'll get you down there. Right. So check in there. That opens at 2:00 on Wednesday. Now, we don't have a lot of activities Wednesday other than you can get familiar with the venue, right? You can certainly drive around, see what's there. And most important, see your old friends, right? That's the biggest part of this is the fellowship, right? Have dinner with your friends, make new friends, right? Get to see everybody's kids, how they're growing up, right? How many of our children learn how to drive at a Land Rover event? I would love to see children out driving in these open ski slope areas. Let's get all those 10, 12, 14-year-old kids out driving mom and dad's truck or their uncle's.
It's going to be great.
Right? I mean, so
just put it in low range and let it go. You don't need to worry about it. It'll be fine.
Just send it.
Yeah, just send it. Right? It's the ski slope. What could possibly go wrong?
Good. What's the worst that can happen?
It's your parents. You didn't pay for it.
Like I said, up on the wheels, down on the roof. It's going to be great. We're going to have a bunch of 10-year-olds skidding Freelanders down the hill on the roof. I can't wait.
That's kind of the idea for Wednesday is get acclimated, right? Get your camp set up or get your bearings, right? There will be a lot of people there Wednesday night. We know that because the resorts, right? So we know there's going to be, well, just from what we can gauge, there are over 400 people we know will be there Wednesday night. So the number could be even more, but that's what we can verify. So
we do have over 450 people registered at this moment.
450 people. That is incredible.
There you go. And that doesn't include a lot of our vendors and luminaries. And it's very well that we're probably around 500 when you put everybody in the mix. There's plenty of capacity. If you want to come, this venue could hold 1,000 or 1,200 people. So don't think you're too late, right? The key is to make your travel plans. The good thing about Greek Peak is it's right off a major interstate. The little town of Cortland's a few miles away. So if you need to pick up provisions or gear, there's a town there. Cornell and Ithaca, the Finger Lakes are all within 20 minutes. It's a beautiful New York setting, right? So there's lots to do, but show up Wednesday evening, that $250 registration fee, you can do the whole event for $250. Now, if you really want to upgrade your visit, get your ticket to the Friday night dinner. That's the big one. That's where all of you are going to be helping us do this virtual meeting with people all over the globe. That's where all the luminaries will be speaking. That's where the inaugural ANARC Cup will be presented, all the awards. That dinner, though, we can only fit 600 people in the venue.
Right.
So, but that's a separate, I believe that's $40, John. So, you pay separate for that ticket. So that's why not everybody wants to go to that. Oh, and there are children's rates and all of that. That's going to be a really special night. That Friday night, that technically is where we're going to have the toast. There is talk that it's going to be black tie optional. It's going to be creative.
Okay. Yeah.
There are apparently a lot of people who want to wear their kilts. So that's the pressure we're hearing.
Makes sense. Yeah, makes sense.
So bring your kilt. For those of you who know Dr. Rick in Minnesota, I love Dr. Rick. He will probably be driving his James Bond Defender, and he will be shaking his martinis and wearing his, after dinner.
I love it. I can't wait.
Be carrying that briefcase with the Aquavit.
Exactly.
Oh, man, that stuff is killer.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot to look forward to. No, it's absolutely, I can't tell you how excited we are. It is such an incredible thing that you guys have done, putting this event together, bringing Land Rover enthusiasts from across the countries. I don't know if there's any folks coming up from Mexico, but certainly folks coming down from Canada.
Yet.
Really?
None registered yet.
Well, there's still time.
They're likely to come in unregistered.
Oh, ow.
Sorry.
Ow.
Had to do it.
That's too easy. Yeah. So fantastic. And I think, though, we're remiss if we don't talk about all of the podcast related, the Land Rover podcast cinematic universe, if you will, activities that that'll be going on in ANARC. But you'll have to tune in next week to the Center Steer podcast to hear all about that in this exciting cliffhanger.
This is a
two-part episode.
A cliffhanger?
It is.
Two-parter.
A teaser. if you haven't, for whatever reason, if there's any human being that owns a Land Rover and listens to one podcast but not the other, I certainly don't understand why. This is your perfect opportunity to either listen to the Center Steer podcast for the first time or wonder what the heck is being talked about on the Center Steer podcast and come on over.
What is being talked
I'm
about
sorry,
on the Center Steer podcast?
what is the Center Steer podcast you keep talking about?
Yeah, there you go. That's right. I don't know. I've heard people talking about it. I'm going to check it out.
They must be new.
It comes live from the McAfee Center Steer every week.
It comes live right from here in my
Kmart.
basement. My basement
from the Red K.
from the Red K.
So, Steve, let's talk about Luminaries. Everybody hears
Yeah.
all of your voices. I listen to your podcast, right?
Right.
They're all of this enthusiast community. I invite everybody to come meet all of you. I mean,
Oh, yeah. No, there's a reason we do audio podcasts, though.
Yeah.
So I apologize in advance to everyone who will.
audio
Yeah,
only.
yeah.
Remain
Yeah,
that way.
audio
Yeah.
only podcasts. Both, you too, the listeners of both shows can come and meet us live, weigh in on, like Jerry, if Ike and I look like brothers, if there's all kinds of things.
But we'll learn about that in a week.
We'll have stickers. We'll have all kinds of things. But yes, join us, won't you, over on the Center Steer podcast, where fine podcasts are found. And we'll wrap this up over there. So for this week, folks, thanks for joining us, all of you. Amazing to have all in the same place. It's always a pleasure to see. It's great to have everybody chatting, and I look forward
This
to
is
next
wonderful.
week's episode.
Thank you.
We'll wrap it up there. So for now, we'll sign off from the underpowered hour side, and we'll join you back on the Center Steer side. So for now. We'll say goodnight, and we'll talk to you guys next week.
Thank you all for coming.
All right. Well, I can't wait. It's gonna be an epic thing. And hey, who knows? Who knows what'll happen on this episode of the Center Steer podcast? You'll just have to tune in next week and find out.
Yeah, we can't tell you, even if we know.
No, we could have all died. You'll never know unless you listen.
You better
to
listen.
the Center Steer podcast. You better listen. So, well, Ike, it has been a slice. Looking super forward to hearing more about the Australian trip. Liza's heading out on the G4 recreation rally here. It's imminently. We're going to have tape on that. My goodness, it is a busy year, leading right up, of course, to the big 75th anniversary up there in Greek Peak. And if for whatever reason you want to see what Ike and I look like, and you don't have access to YouTube, if you want to see what we look like in 3D, why you would want that, I don't know. But we'll be there. Maybe you can see why Jerry McGovern thought we were related.
Yeah, face for radio. That's what they say.
That's exactly right. Well, it's been a slice as always, Ike. We'll see you next week, and we're going to start down the Kuma Trail, I believe, next week. So it's going to be good times.
Lots happen. All right,
sir.
Talk to you then.
The Underpowered Hour is produced by Liza Barris, Ike Goss, and me, Steve Barris. Pavel Svardov composed and performed our theme music. Consider supporting the show on Patreon, and if you already do, thank you. Your support makes the show possible. For even more, check out our Instagram or Facebook.